The Freedom Front Plus will launch its manifesto in Pretoria today. Leader Dr. Pieter Groenewald is expected to address party members and supporters at the Heartfelt Arena. The right-wing party will also celebrate its 30-year anniversary at the venue after its formation in 1994. The party contested the democratic elections and managed to secure 9 seats in the National Assembly, capitalizing on uncertainty among minority voters about the existence under a black government. Analysts predict that the party's electoral fortunes may increase in the mayor polls. The party aims to unseat the ruling governing party, the ANC, through the coalition in the multi-party charter. FF Plus Chief Whip in Parliament, Corne Mulder, says it's time to get together and to rebuild South Africa. Now, for more on the on the Freedom Front Plus manifesto, launch in Pretoria, we now cross to SABC News reporter Canny Maphanga in Pretoria. Canny, a very good morning to you. Give us a brief synopsis of what we can expect from the Freedom Front Plus in Pretoria today.
Well, good morning to you, Lebo, and to the viewers at home. Indeed, we are coming to you live from the Heartfelt Arena in the nation's capital, where the Freedom Front Plus is expected to launch its manifesto, which hopes to bring a message of hope under the theme of rebuilding the nation. We expect that they'll be addressing issues such as crime, load shedding and unemployment, to name a few. Now, Freedom Front Plus is an interesting party to look at ahead of 2024 because they are coming from an electoral gain in 2019 where they were able to nab at least 10 seats in the National Assembly. Then if you look at the past 5 years, they've been quietly showing that trend again in the recent by-election results, continuing to gain that viable alternative through some of those conservative voters, and analysts predicting that they may be able to secure this trend again in the 2024 polls and grow even more as a viable alternative. To assist us further with this analysis, I'm joined by political analyst Sandile Swana here at the venue ahead of Dr. Groenewald's address expected at around 12 here at the Heartfelt Arena to at least over 4,500 of those supporters. Now, we're looking at Freedom Front Plus, as I've said again, which is an interesting party to look at because some are predicting that we could expect more electoral gains from this political party. As an analyst, what are you looking at towards Freedom Front Plus when they perform in the 2024 elections?
In terms of the statistics, this is a party that has been able to grow by more than 200% from election to election, especially more recently. Bearing in mind that this is a party that was formed in 1994, around 1994, let's put it like that. It has taken them a long time to get to a place where they start growing. But now that they've started growing, 200% is not out of the norm. So if you found them moving from 10 to 15 seats in the National Assembly, that should not surprise you as well, and things like that. And that will be costing the DA a number of seats and a number of votes as they go along.
Now, the previous campaign that gained them these seats was the Fight Back campaign, but we know the challenges right now that we are experiencing in South Africa are quite universal. Will they be able to go beyond the demographic that they represent in the country?
Well, there are issues that have got nothing to do with the demographic itself. For instance, the GDP growth rate in South Africa as a whole, even in the places that are regarded as white-dominated, such as the Western Cape, in terms of the control of state power, not necessarily in terms of the demographics, the GDP growth rate has been dismal in the Western Cape, dismal in South Africa as a whole. 2% is virtually unknown. 2% growth rate is unknown. 20% unemployment rate in the Western Cape being the best. So basically, the best performing province in South Africa has fainted if the rest of South Africa is in a coma economically. So they need, and they have spoken, Groenewald has been precise and incisive in his articulation around the economy. The economy itself as a whole, everywhere. Because you cannot live a cocooned, privileged life. It's not possible. The GDP must grow everywhere. Security is a problem everywhere. There is no place where you can be safe if the whole nation is not safe. So those are some of the issues that are on the table.
And their contribution as a partner in this so-called coalition that is the multi-party charter, what does that mean for this charter that is trying to unseat the ANC in the 2024 polls?
That is one view of trying to unseat the ANC. But there's the other view that says also let's just form a government of national unity. Forget about the charter, forget about coalitions, form a government of national unity. If we take that view, the Freedom Front Plus will be one of the parties intellectually that is able to provide credible solutions, especially when it comes to the economy. Even in terms of security, bearing in mind that probably the Freedom Front Plus represents a demographic of with the largest component of security experts. So you would find that they are able to say something quite intelligent about how to protect the population in South Africa. And also, these are the descendants of the people who built the industrial infrastructure in South Africa.
All right, thank you very much. That was Mr. Sandile Swana, political analyst, just laying the foundation of what analysts expect the Freedom Front Plus to do ahead of 2024. Now, I do want to give you a bit of the scene here at Heartfelt Arena in Pretoria, where preparations are underway for at least 4,000 people, or 4,500 rather, Lebo, to make their way into this arena to hear the message of Dr. Pieter Groenewald as he presents a plan to rebuild South Africa. Again, once I've stated, those challenges that will be looked at is load shedding, crime and unemployment, to name a few. Now, this is still early, Lebo. We haven't seen some of those supporters come in yet, but we do understand from 10 a.m. that program will be well underway, and we will be giving you the next update at 8 a.m. with the spokesperson for the Freedom Front Plus, Voter Wessels, about what to exactly expect in that manifesto at 12 when it is delivered by Dr. Groenewald.